I'm Lester Holt.
Howdy, Holtheads. Wait, actually, I can't say that because that's going to be what they're going to hear immediately. But hello there, fellow fans of true crime. This is Kurt Money.
And this is Kateline.
And we are here to intro what the show is going to be from now on. What you are about to hear is from our Patreon that came out last November. It is the exact same show that you know and love. It's just the show we're talking about is not Dateline. And in this case, it's an episode of Buried in the Backyard. Right, Kate?
That's correct, Kurt.
So I was stoked to start the Patreon and like the premise of this show for a lot of reasons. But the main one was 100% I wanted a way to force Kate into watching other shows other than Dateline so that I could talk about them. How do you feel about that, Kateline?
Well, I want to say they're not as good as Dateline.
Really? You don't think any of the ones we've done are as good as Dateline? I would say 100,000% are better.
Let me just say the stories may be better.
Yeah.
But the quality... quality is not. The budget is much lower.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. The quality of the shows that we cover on here will go up and down, but yeah, the stories are bonks. But this, I would say this episode, Lady in a Barrel from Buried in the Backyard, this is the only one that really got you 100% on story and explanation of the show, which is kind of heartbreaking that it was one and done. But literally everything after this, you were like, it's good, bud.
Yeah. But it's a great story.
Yeah. Yeah, and let's clarify this. There are plenty more banger stories in here. It's just that Kate would have some opinions about the show of it all. Because a lot of these shows have reenactments, which we know is her no-no.
I don't party with reenactments.
But you did in this because of what they didn't give them any, they might not have even shown the faces. They might have done it Muppet style, where like the B-roll was a blurry guy in the background and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a good way in.
That's a great way for me.
Absolutely. So, I mean, look, it was a good pick on my part because I think it delivered on that. So that's cool. Patting myself here. Mm-hmm. Good job, Kurt Money.
Good, honey.
We learned a lot of cool stuff in this episode. We get to talk about glop again. Glop comes up.
You love glop.
Kate's favorite word. And we also learn some things about Kurt Money, like when his soccer team called him corkscrew because he got a perm. So there's a little tease for y'all. We got some other stuff to say about it, but we'll see you on the other end of this because we don't want to talk spoilers here. But so enjoy Lady in a Barrel. Howdy, Holtheads. Kurt Money here, alongside my co-host,
Kateline.
Today we got a special episode because this is an episode of a program that has shook me to my core from the moment I watched it in, I believe, 2018. I'll check the records on that. But I've watched this up a billion times. Now, before we go into it, it's called Lady in a Barrel, and the show is called Buried in the Backyard.
In Long Island, New York, a homeowner makes a gruesome discovery in an old rusty barrel.
It was just total disbelief.
Kateline, I want to know your thoughts overall, but also tell the Holtheads what you texted me after you watched it.
I don't remember what I texted you.
What? You said it was lit, and I said save it for the pod.
Yeah, it was lit.
It was lit as hell, right?
This is my first time watching Buried in the Backyard, and I was impressed. It feels, even though it's way more modern than Forensic Files, it still feels kind of like Forensic Files. It feels a little dated in the way that it's done. Okay. But I don't mean that as a negative.
Now, you are notorious for hating reenactments. There are a few in there. But look, none of those reenactments spoke, though, so I feel like it's...
There was no dialogue, so that's fine.
Yeah.
It's when they recreate full scenes with people saying things they never said.
Yeah.
It drives me insane, and the acting is always terrible. But if it's somebody who's just acting out something physically...
It's okay.
In this case, stashing a barrel...
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay, cool. My history with this is... Now, do you know why I made a point to watch Buried in the Backyard to begin with? Why do you think Kurt Money discovered this show?
Was it because of the Dateline episode where the mom was buried in the backyard?
Oh, no. I know you're talking about Bonnie Haim.
Uh-huh.
No, it wasn't that. It was because... During my original run of Burbsin, I watched everything that could be connected to the Burbs in any way. And if you're familiar with the Burbs, their bodies potentially buried in the backyard.
Buried them in the backyard.
And that's why I watched this show, Kate. Every single episode. It's not related to the Burbs in any other way. What do you think?
That's a stretch.
Yeah. But hey, look, if I hadn't have done that, we wouldn't have been watching Season 1, Episode 3, Lady in a Barrel.
So this one really stuck with you, huh?
I mean, I'd never heard of this story. Did you know anything about this?
No.
Also, I'll be doling it out, but you know it. FF did this too.
He saw what appeared to be a human hand.
Okay. And actually, there's some interesting information that was in one and not the other. July 22nd, 2020 was when I watched this. That's deep in the pandemic, and so, I mean, that might have been the peak Burbsin era at that point. Our story begins in Jericho, New York, 1989. Ron Cohen is selling his house. Now, Ron Cohen is married, has 2 kids. How old do you think Ron Cohen is? I'm guessing early 30s when this was going down.
Early 30s?
When this was going down, we saw a family photo. Where would you put him?
Huh. I don't know, 40?
I just got to say this now to get out of the way. Ron Cohen appears in this, the guy who owns the house. He appears in Buried in the Backyard, and I think has some great lines and gives us some great insight. Does not appear in the FF. Now, Kateline, that picture I sent you, how old do you think that guy was? That actor playing a guy with a barrel at the end of his driveway.
That man's like 80.
Yeah! He's playing Ron Cohen!
Wow.
I feel like that episode came out in 2000, which was like the year after it happened. I bet he was sick of talking about it. And he probably said no. An FF production team, I feel like they do this, where they're like, okay, that guy. The guy that we're going to get to reenact him is going to be a grampy.
That might be what happened.
Okay, anyway, so Ron Cohen's selling his house, and he found someone who wants to buy it, but they have one condition, that this little area underneath the house had to be broom clean before they left, which means removing this barrel that had been there when they bought the house in 1990.
The buyer wanted us to clean everything out and leave that crawl space broom clean. We were a little bit annoyed.
Now, Kateline, you are our real estate expert. Is the term broom clean official? I'd never heard that before. Broom clean.
I don't know, but I'm not surprised that they asked for that. They don't know what's down there, and yeah, if you're buying a house, everything should be clean.
So part of making that thing broom clean was getting rid of this barrel in there that is heavy as hell. He calls the movers back and says, can you help me get this to the end of the street? They do. And they're guessing this thing's around 300 pounds. They leave it for sanitation to come pick it up. Next morning, he has a note in his mailbox that says, this thing is too heavy. Either empty it out or find another sap to pick it up. And I'm kind of with those dudes. What do you think? You try and pick up this old-ass barrel, and it won't budge.
It's in their right. City sanitation doesn't have to pick up large items or heavy items, and there are plenty of other ways to get rid of it. You can call 1-800-JUNK removal, 1-800-GOT-JUNK, who's the sponsor of this episode.
Yeah, so he's annoyed, but he goes and gets like a tool or something. And it's, like it's a proper barrel, so it's like sealed. He's got to
It's like when you're opening a paint can.
So he opens this up, and as soon as he removes the lid, he and his buddy are just assaulted with this disgusting ass smell.
We got this horrific, awful smell. Nothing that I've ever smelled before in my life.
Which we know. What is the one stink that everybody talks about how it stays with you forever? What do you think this awful rancid smell was, Kateline?
That's going to be decomp.
It's going to be decomp. And Ron Cohen, he saw a f***ing boot pop up from the goo in the barrel. And he's like, okay, call the cops.
I received a call about a possible dead body. What do you mean a possible dead body? It should be dead, it's not dead, what is the situation?
Right? Now, this is the first whoa dude in the episode. Now, what I love about this episode of Buried in the Backyard is there's not a bit of fluff in here, okay? It's double the length of the FF, but they have enough unbelievable story elements where they're hitting us with something every act, right? Like this thing delivered to the very end.
It was jam-packed.
Yeah. Okay, so he calls the cops. The cops come out. Oh, and also visible. Oh, how about these pics in this episode, huh? You could see a hand. It looks like a witch's hand because it's not bones. What does the hand look like floating on top there, Kateline?
It looks like leather.
Yeah.
The skin is darkened and shriveled, but not bone. It's still very clearly a human hand. It's well preserved. Whatever was in that barrel with it kept it mostly intact.
Right. So the cops show up. They bring a team to pick it up, and they all got to wear gas masks to do this. Like, this is not just them in some N95s, okay? Like, they are...
And we saw video
Yeah.
from the moment where they were pouring the contents out of the barrel. And it's funny because some of them were in full hazmat, and then other people were in like half hazmat, and then one lady had like her little velvet flat shoes on.
Yeah. I saw her, and she was the one taking stuff out. You could see like the
She was
top
the one
of her
taking
foot.
stuff out.
I
I was like, girl, get you some work boots.
Yeah.
Put on some galoshes. You don't want to be
Something.
wearing those little dainty flats.
Yeah.
With like exposed skin. And I thought there could be some kind of
knows?
acid in there that could hurt you. Although that would have made the body disintegrate probably. So maybe they thought they were safe. And the first thing that they dump out is this kind of dark green black liquid.
Yeah. Now, Kateline, they call it decomposition fluid, but what do we know it as?
What do you mean?
Okay, so the liquid that comes out is dark green, and the people are talking on the show like, it was weird because decomposition fluid is usually clear.
Right.
Now, why waste all this time saying decomposition fluid when we know what they really call it is one syllable, and that's glop.
Yeah. I don't love that term.
It's back, though, baby. It's back, because that's fucking glop.
Except it wasn't.
Okay, anyway, so yes, it was. Yeah, it was. It was dyed green by the stuff in it. That's straight up glop.
But she didn't.
What are you talking
she
about?
wasn't decomposed.
Oh. Future Kurt here to just let all the Holt heads out there know that is indeed decomp fluid. So it is glop. Sorry, Kateline. Sounds like glop is here to stay. You best get used to it. Here's the show calling it decomp fluid.
It was surprising because decomposition fluid and body fluid is generally clear.
And then here's Future Kurt saying it's totally decomp fluid, aka liquefied body, aka glop. I've already informed Future Kate of this. I told her she was nuts and wrong. She did not appreciate being called nuts, but she did agree that she was wrong, and her response was, my bee. All good, Kateline. Back to the show. Okay, so they pull out the hunk that's in the middle, and, I mean, this is shock number 2. What do we see in this clump when they pull out? It's not a skeleton. It's not like remains. What is it?
It is a woman in a crouching position, fully clothed with hair.
Yep.
And they look at her clothing
And
they realize this woman has most likely been in this barrel since the late 60s. Just based on her clothing alone, it's like very late 60s kind of fashion, trendy of that time.
Yeah.
Someone who was very well dressed too. They were in a dress with a leather coat and these boots and had a purse and everything.
Scarf, purse. They're pretty dope with the pictures. And they have the video. You can see that she's like slumped over and stuff and has like a green overcoat on. Now, I'm going to make my own list here when I say this is something straight out of a movie.
Kick-ass.
Because of the idea that they can identify it from the clothing. And even with our eyes, we're looking at this picture going, it's clearly the 60s. Like, I couldn't believe that.
Because the clothes itself was a time capsule. You had a fashion show straight out of the 60s.
And do you think that can ever happen again, since all fashions are recycled now? Do you think you'd ever be able to tell this?
It's tough.
What do you think?
I don't know, especially because even then, just because someone's wearing clothes from the 60s doesn't mean it's not the late 70s.
That is true.
People can be out of style. Like, if it was the late 60s, she looked like she was very stylish.
True.
And I think today, it would be harder to determine. You'd have to really look at the state of the clothing, the fabric, the tags on the clothes. It's tough.
And hair keeps growing, doesn't it? Or no, your body gets smaller so it looks like it grows. Is that how it goes? Because I'm trying to think, there are some real douchey hairstyles out now. If crystallized those in amber, we know when they were from.
Are you talking about the alpaca cut?
What's that?
Every boy under the age of like 25 has the same alpaca haircut. They look like an alpaca. These kids are getting perms to have curly floppy hair when they don't have curly hair.
That's funny. Now, I had a perm back in my day, Kateline. Did you know that?
No.
I partied with all the hair stuff because my mom was a hairdresser. So, I mean, I dyed it, we bleached it, we permed it, and they called me Corkscrew on the soccer team for it. How about that?
And why did you choose to perm it?
Well, I had it, the butt cut, parted down the middle, long hair, soccer player, super cool guy, mixing it up, always bringing new looks to the field. And my mom, who was a tastemaker at the time, and still is, my money's still a tastemaker, okay? She said, we gotta perm that. Oh, and we dyed it like a reddish, too. It was crazy. Hey, speaking of my money, when I left LA and was rooming with her for a few months during the pandemic, I made her watch this because I'd just seen it and I was like, this is crazy. You gotta watch it. My money, disgusted, wouldn't finish it. The pictures were too graphic for her. She was literally upset with me that I showed it to her.
Wow, I don't think Jillionaire would feel that way.
How would she react to these photos? Would she be like, gross but cool?
I don't know that she would even think it was gross. I think she would just be kind of desensitized to it at this point. She watches so much murder.
Yeah. My money, she goes, I want to know why they do this stuff. I'm like, I don't give a why they did it. The psychology of it. She's like, what makes him do that as a child? Or like, what happened in his childhood? I'm like, Mom, that's the worst part of the books. Okay? I love that that's your favorite part because I'm not here for it.
That's such a mom angle. Who hurt him?
Totally.
I want to see what his mother was like.
Yeah. He better not blame his mom. We better get that backstory. I want to hear her side of it. That's what she'd be saying for sure. They're taking all the contents out. We've got this mummified body. Like, she even has hair, but the parts where she doesn't have hair is because there was trauma, blunt force trauma. They show it too. We see pictures. We see teeth. Now, first of many fascinating things we find out about this body. What's up with those teeth?
This woman, her teeth were very well preserved, and it was clear that she had a gold piece across her four front teeth. They said it was common of people in Central and South America, a common dental procedure or something. Gold was used, whereas maybe it was ceramic in this country. I'm not sure, but they knew that it was likely she was from Central or South America because of this gold piece. And you could see it. It was there.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds dope. But I feel like in the 60s, have a gold tooth would be kind of cool. Do you think?
It feels like it was maybe a little more rare. And the fact that the example that they showed wasn't what she had. They kept showing solid gold teeth.
Exactly.
Like Joe Pesci in Home Alone.
Yes. Great call. You're right.
But it looked almost like a retainer, like it was on the outside, the outer edges of the four teeth. The teeth themselves were still very much white.
Don't worry about your home. It's in good hands.
Further in that barrel, we find a purse and like this weird plastic leaf. It's like a plastic leaves branch or something. So they've got that. Now, we've got a lot to talk about what's inside that purse. But first, Kateline, the forensic pathologist or whoever starts unwrapping this body, okay? And what is it that they see inside of this woman? What do they find?
Unfortunately, they find skeletal remains of a fetus. She was 9 months pregnant at the time of her death. And it also makes that crouching position that she was found in even more terrifying because now you can kind of picture the blows to the back of the head and she was maybe trying to like shield her stomach and crouch. They also find that there were 2 significant blows to the back of the head. The first one probably killed her, and the second one was for good measure. And this all of a sudden went from being 1 homicide to 2.
The medical examiner identifies what looks like human bones inside of the mummified woman.
And it also helped the investigators because now they're thinking that could point to motive. She was pregnant. Maybe the father of that baby didn't want her to be pregnant.
That's right. But in order to find that out, they got to figure out the identity of this lady in the barrel. But I just, like, a 9-month-old, they're like, we found little bones in there, bones of a baby. It's like, again, these are the beats of a movie where I'm like, oh, it's nuts.
Yeah, it's so sad.
So friggin' sad.
So that's what they had to go on. They knew she was 9 months pregnant, probably an immigrant from Central or South America, well-dressed, had good fashion, and that's kind of all they knew.
Yeah. So they crack into the purse, and there's some makeup products, there's lipstick or whatever, but they find a 2x2-inch address book. Mm-hmm. And they show a picture of it. It's literally super tiny. But it's been in this goo for 34 years. And they were talking about how if you pressed it, your finger would go right through it. They're looking at this going, they even say, I had no hopes to know what was in that book, right? Because it's been sitting in this dark goo forever. But they send it to
they send it off to the lab where they have a guy who can dry things out. And he thinks...
Okay, it was a lady, and she's on the FF.
As I put it under the machine and try the various filters and lights...
Sorry, continue.
Okay, my mistake.
Okay.
I should not have gendered this person. The woman at the lab says she's going to try to dry out this address book because it may be squishy, but it could still be salvageable. if she can do it painstakingly, page by page. Like, it'll take a while, but
Yeah,
maybe they can get something. And it goes page by page. It's like a while before they get one page.
Right.
But there is something on that one page.
So I got to give a shout out to the FF at this point, because Buried in the Backyard flies through this. They put it in a drying oven, and we actually found some stuff. And then we talk about the stuff that they found, which is awesome, and we're about to discuss. But I got to give a shout out. The stuff they did after the drying oven was insane, where they're like shining infrared lights on it and ultraviolet rays to try and see, because the goo had lifted the ink from the page. Like, those pages were empty to the naked eye. They plug it into the computer, and they're doing all these lights. And I wrote down some of the terms because they just sound crazy to me. Oblique side lighting. That helps you see what was written. Okay? Ultraviolet light, infrared luminescence setting. So all this wild stuff. And they actually they see some stuff in here. And now they find a couple of random numbers. Which number you want to talk about first? Wait, so, okay.
Well, the number they find first on that first dried page looks like an immigration number. They're not sure, but they run it.
It starts with an A.
It's an A number, and they think at that time that's what immigration numbers looked like. So they send it off to customs or immigration, whoever was in charge of that. And sure enough, it is an immigration number, and they look in their records. I'm guessing this probably took a while too, because it wasn't in a computer system. This was way back in the 60s. It's like going back to Ellis Island. So they check their records, and they get a match, and they learn the name of this woman.
Reina Angelica Maricone. Now, the A stood for alien. That's what we used to call immigrants, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it doesn't sound cool now. Is that why we don't say it anymore? Because it's like, that's also a word we use for things in the space, or what?
I don't know. I think, is it not used anymore at all?
I don't know. But the A stood for alien.
We got a positive from immigration that, yes, that is an alien number. It was dating back into the 1960s.
And we know when she came over, August of 1966. So the ballpark of the outfits, things are starting to come together a little bit.
And she immigrated from El Salvador.
Yes.
And she came through New York City, and that is where she was living.
Yep, that's right. And when they're talking about when she arrived in New York in the late 60s, they're showing some classic stock footage from back in the day. And now, Kateline, buckle up, because I got a B-Y-B. B-roll? You busted. Busted. They show a marquee. It says Earthquake, the movie. That didn't come out till 1974, y'all. So there is a little late. Sorry. Busted. Now, please look at the last photo I sent you. I'm not kidding. I did not do this on purpose. I'm right now looking at my copy of the movie Earthquake. Literally within reach.
Uh-huh.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that is crazy.
Okay. So anyway,
I've never seen that movie.
I love it. It's weird as hell. Charlton Heston's in it. It's so weird. It's weird. You would appreciate it, though. I feel like you might find some fun in it. I can't give any other details for fear of unmasking you or something, okay?
You know, I'm not going to watch it.
No, you're not. Right. Well, I don't know why you had to tell me that. It's not like I asked if you were going to, but...
I'm telling our listeners.
Okay.
Sure was damp today.
All right, so now we know who she is, but they're still looking through the book, and they're getting info as it rolls in. And we see the literal pages of this book, like there's like a flourish on it with line, like it looks like a little address book. And so they've got partial numbers, and they're thinking like, this has been 30 years, no way this is going to help us. But the one name that was clearly legible with a full number, Kathy Andrade.
Kathy Andrade.
That's it. Kathy Andrade. And a phone number. And now again, this is a 30-year-old phone number, so no way she still lives there. They dial it up. And who picks up the phone?
Kathy.
She's lived in the same apartment, had the same phone number for 30 years.
Yeah, but so has Jillionaire. It's actually been 40 years.
Okay. I thought you were going to go rent control New York. Like, of course she wouldn't leave. That was what I thought.
Well.
Maybe.
That too. But I also thought, I'm thinking about my phone number. I've had it since 1999. That's 25 years.
Your cell phone?
Yeah.
Number? Yeah, but that can hop with you, though. This is a landline that is only in one room.
Sure. Yeah, but Jillionaire's landline, she's had that since like 84.
All right, well, I was impressed by this. Kateline is not, but that's okay because we got plenty of other awesome stuff to talk about here.
Yes.
So that one, we didn't get Kateline with that one. That's okay.
But Kathy answers the phone and she's like, oh yeah, I knew Raina.
Yeah, we were best buds.
Come on over and let's talk about it.
And she gives her the scoop. I mean, they were best buds. They were roommates. They were confidants. I mean...
They worked together.
Yeah, you want to tell us that part?
So she worked with Raina at technically in the fashion industry.
Yeah, and she was going to fashion school.
And she was going to fashion school, which would explain what they originally thought, that this woman is really well dressed for that time. She's got good threads, good style. And Kathy tells them that Raina came to New York to work in fashion, and that was her dream, and she was really making it happen. And she was working in this factory, a plastics factory, which another bell went off for the investigators because they had found that plastic flower thing in the barrel. Kathy tells them then that Raina had a boyfriend and that he was married. She didn't know his name or anything about him, except that at one point Raina had decided that classic move, he had been telling her that he was going to leave his wife for her. So when she got pregnant, she thought, we're going to have a family. But he already had a family, and he wasn't going to leave them. And she was fed up, and she called this guy's wife and told him that she was pregnant with his baby.
I mean, that's a boom move.
That's so ballsy.
It's not going to turn out well for Raina, but I love that she did it. And we don't get a whole lot of info about this wife, Kateline. But at the end of this app, I've got questions. Okay?
I had the same questions, Kurt.
Good. So obviously the wife flips out and tells the guy about it. Now, what's wild is this Kathy lady that we're talking to. She's describing the last day that she saw or talked to Raina. It was like in 1969, and she had gotten a call from Raina, and she's upset going, I made a big mistake. I called the wife and told them, and then the guy called back and said, I'm going to kill you now. I will never forgive you. And she's like freaking out. She's going, help, help, help. So Kathy's like, no one's going to kill you, but I'll come over. So Kathy rushes over there. The door is ajar on Raina's apartment. She walks inside. What does she find in that apartment?
Raina left in a hurry.
The plates are still on the table. The food is warm. Even the door's left open.
It's like she was just grabbed and taken out, which is interesting that she was found with her purse.
Yes. Now, she was maybe talked into going somewhere, I think. And that's why she had her purse with her. What do you think? Is that what you're saying? Like, why would she have it if she was grabbed?
Yeah, well, then why is the door open? Why wasn't the food put away if she was going to go somewhere? Unless he showed up and said, grab your stuff, we're going somewhere. Or, I'm running away with you. You have no time to pack anything. Just grab your bag and let's go. I don't know. It's weird to have the purse and all your belongings, but to leave your apartment just kind of in a state of...
Well, okay, check this out. What if the guy took it because he knew that the end result of this, I've got to wipe all evidence of this woman off the face of the earth?
Maybe.
So anyway, this apartment's...
What if he went back for it?
Also an option, I feel. With all the shit that goes into this barrel, he probably had plenty of time. It was his apartment, by the way. He was paying for an apartment for her in New Jersey.
Right, so he had a key.
Yeah, it's weird. But Kathy sits there at the apartment for several hours. Nobody shows up, of course. Now this, as fascinating as the story is, there's a lot of cliche that happens that we hear all the time. She called the police and said, hey, my friend is pregnant, 9 months pregnant, and her boyfriend who is married threatened her and said he was going to kill her, and now she's not in her apartment. And what's the cops' reaction? What do they tell Kathy?
How long's she been missing? We're not really worried about that. And then eventually it leads to like, well, maybe she just went back to El Salvador.
When there is enough time passed, Kathy goes back to the police and is like, please look for my friend. And they're like, whoa, friend. If you're not a relative, we can't help you. Now, what's up with that? You can't file a missing persons report unless you're related to the person?
That doesn't make any sense because people live in cities away from their families all the time.
Yeah. So at that point, Kathy doesn't know who the boyfriend is, has no more information on Raina. And like you said, she just ultimately accepts that. She tells herself, well, hopefully she made it back to El Salvador.
Yeah, maybe she's thinking Raina was so scared that this guy was going to kill her that she fled and headed straight to the airport and didn't even pack a bag, grabbed the purse and left.
Yeah, and you got to think back at that time, that truly was the end of the line as far as information went. And that's impossible to grasp today. But she's an immigrant. she's over here, she's working for the dream too. Like, she's not going to invest everything she has into finding her friend because as far as she knows, she probably went back to El Salvador. And like, you just accept that, I think. I'm not mad at Kathy for dropping it. What do you think?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I mean, it's very likely that those kind of things happened all the time, where someone would just move and you'd never hear from them ever again, unless you got some letter in the mail. But then what are the odds that you're also going to be living in the same place and that they're still going to have your address? I mean, we meet so many people and we connect over social media, but without that, I mean, we can remember from our childhood. I had childhood friends that would move to another state and that was it. I never talked to them ever again. They'd call maybe once or twice, but it's long distance. You can't afford that.
Yeah, you're right. That is wild to think about. So yeah, I mean, so Kathy just accepts that she's hopefully gone back home and the years pass. So at this point, here's what we know. Her name's Raina. She was most likely killed because she was pregnant with this married guy's baby. So now the cops are in the mindset, we got to find this fucking guy. Okay, so they go back to the house and they're looking up city records from the house because they make a great point of like, somebody who doesn't live there is not going to roll up with a 300-pound barrel. Like, you're not going to put that down there unless you live there.
Right.
And I think that's a great point.
I thought it was a little weird, the order that they did this in. I'm very glad that they identified Raina and learned her story. But they could have found this killer without even knowing who that body belonged to. Because all they had to do was immediately after talking to, what was his name? Ken? Ron, the homeowner?
Cohen? Yeah.
After talking to Ron, and he says, oh, that was there when we moved in. It's like, yeah, okay, get the records of all the people who own the home. You go down the list, interview them. Any of them shady? Boom.
Well, but look at, they got to go down to City Hall or wherever these records are, right? I mean, they're looking at city records and the extension over the barrel was built in 1980. So they're thinking it's got to be this guy. So then they got to spend the time tracking that guy down and talking to him. I don't know. I feel like the time window works. Like these things are happening concurrently.
Yeah, I agree. But the way Buried in the Backyard presented it, I feel like maybe they had done it out of order. Because as soon as they found that barrel and the homeowner said it wasn't his, I was like, okay, then who's the previous owner? That was my first, not how do we figure out who this woman is? Because we didn't even know it was a woman yet. We just knew there was a body in a barrel. So it's like my first inkling was to be like, okay, check the records of homeownership. But they came back to that like way later.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's interesting that you bring that up, though, Kate, because I thought of that when I was watching the FF, because that was presented in a different way slightly. And I wanted to know when, because I feel like, I mean, we still got a lot to talk about with Raina, but think of the end of Raina's story. That happened, I think, before they catch this guy. All of that had happened. The El Salvador trip and everything. I don't know. Okay, so they talked to this guy. Hey, look, the papers say he installed this thing in 1980. He comes in and says, that ain't me. He's like, I live there.
Yeah, he says, no, I filed a permit to update this extension because it needed to be updated to code when I bought the house. But I didn't build it.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh.
Yeah, they didn't like that. That was like a real downer for them. They were like, but wait, we got this paper here that says you did it, dude. Like it says your name is on it.
Immediately thought, that's not right. I have a piece of paper here that says you filed a permit to put that extension on.
But they go, all right, well, I guess it's the previous owner. Now, the first time I'm watching this app, I'm thrilled because there's a part of you that goes, I want this to be older. Like, I wasn't prepared for it to be some guy in 1980. You with me there? What do you think? I mean, that still would have been crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like every step of the story, it's like, don't worry. It's the crazy thing you're thinking of.
Yeah.
They talked to the guy who built the house or bought it first or whatever. And, right? I'm about to reveal his name. This is when we get his name, correct?
Well, they haven't talked to him, but they...
Well, no, certainly not. But they find the name because they go to the business and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So the guy who built the house, his name is Howard Elkins. See some pics of this guy. And I'm already, I'm like, oh, Howard. I'm mad at these pics. Aren't you? Aren't you mad at these pics when they're rolling through?
Well, because he's like smiling in every picture, just living his goddamn life.
Yeah, at like parties and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
With suits on or whatever. Okay, Howard Elkins. And they look into the history of this guy. Turns out he owned a plastics company that dyed plastics. And it's the place that employed Raina. This is the first of a few good links. Because they're going, we got to prove not that he knew her, that he killed her, right? So they're like, this is good. This is one more step of evidence for us.
But they don't want to go talk to him yet. They want to get some more info so that they can go talk to him and have some tricks up their sleeve. So they find the co-owner, his business partner, who also worked at the plastics company. And he's still around New York, and they go find him. And they're not even tipping their what's the phrase? They're not even tipping their hat, showing their ass. I don't know. They're keeping tight-lipped about, what's his name? Harold?
Howard Elkins. Howard.
God, I'm really bad with these names. They're tight-lipped about Howard, and they just kind of ask him, like, so you were running this plastics company, and they had information from the barrel, like the barrel serial number, which pointed to where it was originally made, and this guy was able to say, like, yes, those 55-gallon drum barrels were the ones that we used at our factory. And then the green dye that they found,
halogen green,
he was able to look at that sample and be like, yes, this is the compound that we used to dye our plastics. And they could show him like that plastic leaf thing, and he's like, yeah, this is one of ours, yeah. So they've got all this info now to bring to their guy.
Well, wait, this guy's got more to say, right? Because they ask him, hey, did Howard have like a girlfriend or like a lady on the side? And this guy, who does not know why they're there to talk to him, by the way, right? He doesn't know the backstory here. He says, oh yeah, he did. She was real petite, pretty, Hispanic, and she had gold teeth.
Amazing.
I mean, that's a pretty good confirmation right there. So the cops are stoked.
They are giddy.
Yes.
Like, I was picturing if I was a cop investigating this, if you and I both, say we were partners, and we're sitting there in the interview room, and that comes out, would you and I be able to contain ourselves? Or would we look at each other like, she got gold tooth?
I mean, I think, like, my clothes would burst off my body or something. I don't think I'd be able to hide it.
I know. That's got to be a euphoric sensation when you're working a case like that, over 30 years old and just nearly impossible to solve, and you get information like that.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine.
So now they're like, okay, we got enough now. Let's go find this SOB. And he's not in New York anymore. Where's he at? Where do they locate old Howard Elkins?
Well, of course he's in Florida, Kurt.
Of course. Oh, Florida!
He's in Florida, living his life.
Yep.
And they go down there and knock on his door, and he lets them in because, you know, he's acting like he has no idea why they're there, but he lets them in.
He's in his 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they start asking him some questions, and he straight up lies, and they know it because they already talked to his partner.
Everything they ask him, he lies about.
He says, no, we never used those barrels.
Right.
I don't know what that green dye is.
Yeah. And it's like, well, that's funny because your partner... But they're not telling him this. They're just collecting these lies.
Nope.
He was truthful about one thing, and that's that he had a girlfriend. But wouldn't you know it, he couldn't even remember what color hair she had.
Nope.
Or if she was tall or short.
Or what her name was.
None. Just gone. He had no idea. Because, I mean, look, he's lived 30 years of a life. He had kids that had grown up and moved out. Like, he's still married to the wife, okay? Like, he's 30 years of living this life. He's not giving any of this up. And so they say, all right, well, look, this body that we found in this friggin' barrel, there was a baby inside. So give us your DNA, dude, and we'll be able to wipe this clean right now. And he refuses. And what's the hilarious reason he refused the DNA?
That's how they got OJ.
They didn't get OJ, for one, right?
Nope, they didn't get him.
He started getting very standoffish. I'm not giving you anything. Look what they did to OJ.
Then the phone rings. They make a big deal out of this phone call because the phone rings and it's his wife. And he hangs up and he goes, you can't be here while my wife gets home. Get the hell out of here. So this detective, who was also on the FF, I heard this twice, what does he say to Howard Elkins? What promise does he make him?
I don't remember.
He said, all right, that's fine, but I'm going to go get a court order for your blood. I'm going to come get your blood, and then we're going to compare it. We're going to confirm that that's your baby, and then I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to throw you in jail for the rest of your life. Eh?
Yeah, it's a badass thing to say. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen.
No. So these cops who are in Boca Raton on New York's dime, they're still at the motel the next day. They get a call from their headquarters going, did you arrest Howard Elkins? And they're like, what? No, we didn't. And they go, yeah, because his wife called him in as missing. And then they get right to it. He's not missing. The police found him. Where is he?
This is so weird. He is like a block away from his house in his friend's garage. They find him dead of a self-inflicted gunshot wound, but he did it while sitting in his friend's car.
Yeah.
It doesn't even seem like his friend was home. He just goes in his garage, gets inside his Ford Explorer, and blows his head off. And it's like, bro, you ruined your buddy's car. Your blood is all over his garage.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Why not just do it in your own garage?
Great question. And if I was that friend and I was being interviewed on the news, I'd say, do not put down that I'm his friend, okay? Because one, he's a murderer. And two, that motherfucker ruined my car. It was like a Explorer or something. It was like a SUV.
It was. It was an Explorer.
There's blood everywhere. There's a hole in the thing. He had gone to Walmart that day and bought a gun. So isn't there supposed to be a waiting period or something?
Well, this was the 90s.
Yep. That's true. 99. He goes in there, gets a rifle, shoots himself. Now, they've got pics of the van and everything. But Kate, after we record, FF had pictures of his dead, dumb body. Can I please send it to you? Please.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, because you see his mouth open like a... And I'm like, they have a picture of him too when he's older. And I just like imagining him so sad in the back of that car going... Anyway, he sucks.
He has no right to be sad.
No right. And he got to live a full f***ing life. And I love the New York detective is like, it was his time to pay the piper. Right? And he couldn't even do that, the coward.
And now, when it was time to pay the piper, he took the coward's way out.
But the story has a quasi-happy ending because the reporter for Newsday, he makes the trip to El Salvador and he's like, I'm going to find Reina's parents. I want to tell their family, hey, we've got her remains. So he goes there blind. He doesn't know where she lives. He starts knocking on doors. He eventually finds it. Reina's mom is in there. It's her birthday. She's turning 93. They think that he's just there to do a report on this old woman who lived to 93. And the reporter takes out the Newsday on the cover that said her name was Reina Angelica Maricone. I was like, no. We found your daughter. This is what happened to her. And she just breaks down and cries.
It wasn't until I showed the mother the picture of her daughter on the cover of Newsday that she realized what this visit was about.
So they give her the remains of Reina and the baby. They bury Reina at the family plot. A month later, the mom dies too. Now, I get in the FF, they have the actual, because like that guy went there with a photographer. So they have 10 pictures of the moment when he's handing her the newspaper and she's crying and falling against people. I'll send it to you. It's like we see the literal moment the 93-year-old is
no way
finding this information out. Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That's so morbid.
Oh.
It's morbid that they would want a photographer to capture that moment for their newspaper.
Well, I don't blame them for bringing a photographer because you need a picture for the story. You can't blame them there, right?
Yeah.
So they show up. The mom is super relieved. She even says, I had nightmares that my daughter was in a barrel going over the ocean or like in Niagara Falls, like going over a cliff.
Isn't that crazy?
It's a little crazy. I'm gonna be the Kateline in this. It's not that crazy. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, a barrel? The Niagara Falls thing isn't accurate, but it's in New York.
Okay. The barrel thing is interesting. I don't know. Oh, speaking of this, the guy whose house it was where the barrel was.
We were a little bit annoyed.
Their nanny was convinced that their house was haunted, okay? And they had crazy happen where like a transformer explodes when the kids are in the pool, or they install a new garage door and a cat gets caught and breaks its neck. Okay? And so then they find this fucking barrel, and then Ron Cohen is on the show going, so if that's something you believe in, that's pretty good proof. I was like, great way to word that.
Absolutely.
Dude. Great way to word that.
And you know that nanny was like, I told you.
Yeah, and the wife says, I will not sleep another night in this house.
And they didn't.
So that day, they went to a hotel.
You know.
Now, do you think it affected the sale of that house?
Well, he acted like it did because he said in the very beginning, he was like, this was the whole saga about trying to sell this house.
Yeah.
And I took that to mean once it was in the paper and people started hearing about it, it probably sat on the market. But obviously it sold eventually.
Yeah.
But I have to think that, I mean, he mentioned that his kids would play down in that basement and they'd run around that barrel all the time.
Yeah.
Everyone was in such close proximity to it that they just couldn't be in that house one more night. And I really think I could.
Okay.
I don't think that would bother me because there isn't an active threat. And I don't believe in ghosts and hauntings. And
right, ILH is a ghost-free zone. Same here, bro.
Don't you think that once the barrel was found, the ghost moves on?
Yeah, sure. If I believed it. Mm-hmm. But you know what? I guess I'm with you.
It felt like now you can stay in the house because now
it's gone.
The spirits have been removed and everything's fine.
Yeah. This Howard Elkins, I hate that he was comfortable living there for another 15 years and then moving without
Why
touching
did he
it.
not take it with him? What was he thinking?
He couldn't.
That no one would ever find it? He could have. He got it there.
Well, look.
He could have taken it.
Wait.
They said that he filled it with these like packing peanuts to make it be super heavy so that probably with the intention of throwing it over a bridge and it would sink. Why didn't he...
No, take it out on his boat in Long Island Sound. He had a boat and that's what they think is game plan.
Well, why couldn't he get some buddies to help him? Or get like a, what do you call it? A dolly.
Oh, dolly, yeah.
Like,
push car.
There are things you can do. Because the homeowner
right.
and his buddy, didn't they wheel it out to the curb?
Yes. Now, I think the reason why he didn't speak to why I'm so mad at him is he was lazy and didn't give a because he knew nobody's going to touch it. And even the other owners were like, we knew it was there, but it was sealed and it had chemicals in it. We weren't going to open it. Like, I hate his lazy confidence in like, this won't affect me. I think that's what it was. I think he's like remembering how heavy it was when he made it and how pissed he was. He put 200 pounds of pellets in there along with a dead body and can't move it. I honestly think he was like, nah. And
well, clearly he's an idiot and a terrible person. But I think if I had moved into that house and that was there, I would have gotten rid of it.
Yeah. I agree. Look, I don't know, maybe it's different in 1980 or something. But I'm with you. I'd want to know what was in that friggin' barrel.
That being said, Jillionaire's house has a very, very sketchy basement. The house is over 100 years old. The basement is completely unfinished. You can see the ground through parts of the wall. The floor is wet all the time. It's crazy looking. And there is stuff in there from like 100 years ago. And it was there when she moved in, and it's still there.
And you never touched it. You didn't say get rid of that Jillionaire.
No, but I don't own the house.
Did you live there or no? Did she move there? Well, you lived there previously, right? If she's been there for 40 years.
Oh, I was born there.
So you grew up in that house.
Right. But it's not my house. I can't have things removed.
Yeah, and I guess if you're growing up and that stuff was there before you assume it's got to belong to adults or something. You're probably like, that's Jillionaire's stuff.
I thought it maybe... Well, my grandpa owned the house before Jillionaire lived there, so I think I assumed it was his stuff. But it wasn't, because the house was built, like, before he was born.
Look, it sounds like next time you go visit Jillionaire, you got to go snooping around. What do you think?
Well, I'll definitely take some photos for you.
Thank you. If sanitation had been able to pick that up, he'd still be free. No one would have ever known. So he almost got away with it. Like, yeah. I mean, he was doomed from the jump because it was too heavy. But, like, if that had gone to the trash, we know the dumpster's the best place to get rid of stuff. We know it for a fact. That thing would have been gone forever. All right, does that bring us to our list, Kate?
I think it does.
Yep. Hit me.
Kate's unnamed list. Well, the only thing on it is this Florida connection. Because this guy moved to Florida.
That counts.
Detectives found that Elkins was now 70 years old, retired, and living in Florida.
But that's it. They were trying to make it sound like Jericho was this small little community where nothing happens.
It's a place where not much happens, and people like it that way.
It's Long Island. It's super urban. It's right near New York City. No, not buying it.
Is that what the show is about, Jericho? Is that about that town, or no?
I don't think so. I think that was in Illinois.
Okay, but I get it. And it's Nassau County. I've heard of that place.
Yeah, it's right next to Hicksville. It's a major suburb of New York City.
Okay. All right, so wait, is that it for your list? Okay, so I've got my list, and I need to do it. There's a few extra facts, but I guess I'll kick those to post-list. Kick-ass list.
Kick-ass list.
Ron Cohen almost kicked it off with the list item because he said, moving is already a nightmare.
Ours turned out to be a horror story.
It's not enough. It's not. He didn't say movie or film or anything. It's close, though, huh? Horror story? Pretty close.
Pretty close.
But I'm not counting it. What is my list item? Oh, I'm sorry. I guess I was too excited about that B-roll you busted. I wrote that 4 times. But nowhere in my notes are Kurt's kick-ass list, so who knows, maybe future Kurt's going to pop in.
No!
But I've got a little extra info from the FF that I'm going to hit you with. And I want to know what you think of it. Okay, the reason why Reina moved from El Salvador was not just to get the American dream. She was moving because her husband had impregnated another woman.
The irony of that.
Yeah. And she comes over here and is in the reverse situation of it. Isn't that crazy?
It is.
Reina Marroquin left El Salvador because she discovered her husband had a lover who was pregnant with her husband's child.
Now, I feel like they didn't bring it up in this episode because the way that victims are treated now in true crime shows is a little bit softer than maybe they used to. Like, they were respectful of her in the FF, but I feel like they wouldn't bring that up today, but it's pretty freaking fast.
It is.
FF has more body pics and stuff. I'll be hitting those to you later. And also, the FF goes out on this, is they found a note in the stuff, in the green stuff. I'm not going to say it. And they figure out what it says, and it was in her handwriting, and it said, "Don't be mad, I told the truth." That's haunting.
Well, he was mad.
Pretty peeved. Is that it? Is that all I have for the FF?
Well, I need to make a correction. Jericho, the TV show, took place in Jericho, Kansas.
Okay, thank you. You saved future Kurt some legwork there. So what'd you think, Kateline?
It's great.
Good stuff, right?
It's great. 10 out of 10.
I forgot about a lot of stuff about this episode, like the guy who says, "Now it's time to pay the piper." He was great.
Oh, yeah.
And one, I loved how hard you went in this episode on that living at the same address and having the same phone number for 30 years was not impressive.
No.
You were not biting.
Jillionaire does it too.
But Jillionaire does not live in New York City, one of the most biggest cities in the world and stuff. I think that was my deciding line here. It's not like this lady lived in some suburb.
Sure.
She lived in New York City.
But how do we know that that's not where Jillionaire lives?
Okay, well, she doesn't live in New York City. I think we could say that for this point. What? No?
Fine.
Okay.
Sure was damp today.
Hey, speaking of damp, I liked when you told me that you were not going to watch the movie Earthquake that I was talking about. Because I remember...
Yeah, I'm still not going to watch it.
I know! And yet again, I find myself going, I'm not asking you to, Kate. Okay?
Unless a Holt head demands it.
You know, there's deaths in there. There are deaths in there, so who knows, man. So that was fun. And, you know what I was thinking? Should you have added that Explorer to your list? The Explorer that he died in, that he shot himself in at the end. Should that counted for Carcade?
It should have.
Because that was pretty fun, right? Remember how he shot his dumbass? I mean, I was mad that he died, but I'm glad that he was all sad and stuff.
But he did it in his neighbor's garage?
Yeah.
Weird.
That guy super sucked. And remember, he didn't give up his DNA because of what happened to OJ? Classic. Well, on that note, hope you enjoyed this new premise, and we'll see you next week for another example of it. The next few episodes, we'll be doing this where we intro and outro them before the launch of the new season, just to give you a vibe of what we're talking about here. So, I'm Kurt Money.
I'm Kateline.
I'm Lester Holt. For all of us, I'm Lester Holt. Good night.
Corkscrew.